All right, everybody. Welcome to another bourbon show. Tonight we are going to be drinking one of my very guilty pleasures. It's a whiskey that I will always rave about, and people will always give me a hard time about, and I don't care. We are going to be drinking some Mellow Corn. Um, Mellow Corn is made by Heaven Hill. It is a corn whiskey. So being a corn whiskey, really what sets this apart from bourbon is that this bottle right here, everything about Mellow Corn would be considered bourbon except for one thing. Mellow Corn does not go into brand new charred barrels. Heaven Hill barrels this in used barrels. If it wasn't for those used barrels, it would be a bourbon. But it's not. It's a corn whiskey, and there's lots of great corn whiskeys out there. All of them are missing something to keep them from being considered bourbon. But Mellow Corn is it's at least 4 years old. We know because of the bottled in bond right here. It's 100 proof because it's bottled in bond. We already know that. Mash bill is 90% corn and then 10% rye and malted barley. We don't know how that rye / malted barley works out. But that's the mash bill. And I got to know, Steven, what do you think of this label?
Well, first of all, right off the bat, up on the neck here, it says Kentucky's finest.
Goddamn right it is.
So I take exception to that right off the bat. I think a lot of people will. So, just look at the bottle. This is an ugly label.
What?
Dan, you've said this to me before as well, so I don't want to hear this, first of all.
Okay.
It's an ugly label, objectively.
How do you not like this? Is the
I didn't say I didn't like it. Let me finish.
Okay. All right. All right.
Can I just say, can I?
No.
All right. Like, look, it's an ugly label. That said, it's a really ugly label.
You dirty son of a bitch.
I never talk about this much, but the texture of this label itself is pretty interesting. If you just touch it, this is what like a bathroom wall feels like.
Yeah, it is.
You're like resting your hand above the urinal,
like in an RV, like an RV bathroom.
It's like a bathroom. The walls give.
Yeah,
this is like a cheap bathroom. The label itself, the bottle and bond being in this like green does stand out, which is nice. I do like that bit.
Okay.
The Mellow Corn font is kind of cool in a 70s style almost.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's almost like a shag carpet, you know. Then you've got the barrel and the corn, and that's pretty much the label. The rest of it is just like this, you know, like ugly yellow.
The old school copyright, 1945 at the bottom.
See, right? I wanted to give this guy a 4 because it's so just ugly and kind of out there and in your face. But then I wanted to give it a few extra points for being just so bold with it. So then I would give it something like a 6 or 7. And then I subtract some more points because it looks so ugly again. And so it's back to a 4. So I'm going with a 4 for Mellow Corn. But I got to say, I get why it has such a warm spot in people's hearts because it's endearing.
Yeah.
It's just, I can't give it above a 4. It is what it is.
Okay. You know what? Okay. So I told you before we started here that we could come to blows if you give the label a bad rating. And here's the reason why. I'm not going to deny that this label is ugly. I wholeheartedly agree that it's ugly. However, to me, this label is like a 70s porn mustache, right? Like it's not attractive. There's nothing attractive about it, but it's interesting. It's really interesting and it draws your eyes and you can't not look at that 70s porn mustache. It's like
it's become less and less socially acceptable as well over time.
Fair that it has. But like to me, the bottle fits, like the label fits what you're drinking so perfectly that even though it's ugly, it's attractive. It's like so ugly it's cute. You know what I mean? Like
yeah, it's a very fitting label. It's a 4.0 whiskey with a 4.0 label.
Oh, you son of a bitch. This is you dirty bastard. I'm going to punch you in the face next time I see you. Yeah, so like I have never rated a label. That's your gig, Steven. You give it a 4, that's fine. I think it's bullshit because like it stands out. You can see it from a mile away. You've given that as a compliment in previous
true.
labels.
Sometimes it can stand out in such a way that makes you want to pass over it. And I think for a lot of people that is this.
I mean, if you're looking down that far, because this is absolutely going to be on the bottom shelf, like you're not looking at the bottom shelf and going, oh, well, I don't want to drink that because it's got a shitty label. If it's a $60 bottle, maybe you choose something else because it's got a shitty label. But if it's on the bottom shelf already, you're not skipping it because it's got a shitty label. Like, so get off your fucking high horse, Steven. Glass bottle, give it props for that. Plastic cap, but whatever. Screw on cap, so you know he gets bonus points from me. But
UPC right on the neck too.
Yeah, easy to scan. You know, you're being considerate of the employees here.
If the employees can find it, half the time they're like, "Where the hell is this UPC at? It's not on the bottle."
That's probably true.
How disappointed would the people at home be if my label rating segment became where I'm talking about how well it's easy to scan? That's one plus for this bottle. Just end the segment now, Jesus.
I think people hate your label ratings anyways. So.
Well, yeah, but I'm just trying to for a different reason.
Ryan, what do you have to say about the label? Anything?
I love it. It's old school. I think it looks awesome. I mean, how many bottom shelf are you going to find that are bottled bond at the proof that it is with this label? I mean, it doesn't get any better in my opinion. Like I feel like if you had
it doesn't get
like
any
an
better.
old like it's just old school. I like it.
I guess it is Kentucky's finest.
If I saw it in a bar, I'd be like, "What the hell is that?" You know?
Yeah.
I got to try whatever that is.
Right. I agree. So one of the cool things there's lots and lots of cool things about Mellow Corn. I love the color of the liquor itself. Like I wanted to bring down some vegetable oil to show that it's like the exact color of vegetable oil, which to me is just like, again, it just slams home. You are not drinking top shelf here. You're drinking bottom shelf. So don't go into it. Like when I say I love Mellow Corn, I am not going to pick Mellow Corn over Blanton's Eagle Rare, EHT, Elijah Craig. No, I would much rather drink those. But for like $13-$14, this will always have a soft spot in my heart, and I absolutely love it. Speaking of that,
I got fucking ripped off.
Yes, you did. Yes, you did, Ryan. We're gonna go around the horn here, and we're gonna talk about where we got and how much we paid. So I bought this at the Phillips 66 in Maryville, Illinois. I paid, I think, $13.50, maybe $14. It's easy to find in that $13 to $15 range. Steven, do you remember where you got yours and how much you paid?
Yeah, it was at one of the Total Wine locations, and it was like $13.
Yeah. And Ryan, when you got bent over, how much did you pay and who bent you over?
I got it at Benny's, which is a great store.
They are great. They really are.
They must not be getting good pricing from a certain competitor of mine that I won't name. But $16.99 I paid after taxes. It was like $19.
Oh man, that's rough.
But I was also feeling lazy. See, none of my stores carry this. I've actually, I'd see it at Benny's and big liquor stores before, but none of my stores carry it. So I had no clue. I was a $6.99. All right, it is what it is. We've had $50 bottles I've had to pay for a podcast. That I haven't touched since. So, and the price wasn't that bad, but I mean, I paid $5 more than you guys. Yeah. So it is what it is.
Okay. Well, yeah. So, listeners, if you want to try Mellow Corn, which I do highly recommend, to me, Mellow Corn is one of those like you got to drink it, you got to try it just so that you can say you tried it, kind of to earn your provenance for drinking the better stuff, if you will. But I really think that you're going to enjoy drinking Mellow Corn to begin with. So why don't we have a sip?
Let's do it.
Have you guys both tried it?
Yes.
Last night I tried it.
As of like 2 weeks ago, you had not, correct?
Yeah, something like that. Yep.
Okay. Okay.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Sweet.
What do you think?
You know, trying it yesterday by myself kind of pissed off. I paid $16.99 for it. I wasn't huge on it. And I don't know. I even told my, I don't really like this one, but I love the bottle. Drinking it now, I like it a lot more than I did yesterday.
Yeah.
And maybe that's just because, you know, I'm not hungover today like when I was yesterday when I tried it. But it's good. It's a lot better on a second try than it was the first time. I was kind of turned away from it yesterday, and I had 2 glasses. I'm like, I'm not going to drink much of this tomorrow. I'm just not. And I did a pour to about half the glass today, which I kind of regretted, but now I won't. Yeah.
So I always described whenever people are like, what do you love? Because I'm very open. I speak about my love for Mellow Corn on a regular basis, and people always give me a shit about it. But to me, if you want to appreciate bourbon, you got to start with corn whiskey because that's the origins of bourbon, right? And Mellow Corn is like corn, and more corn. It is corn in your face nonstop with some vanilla and maybe a little bit of banana, right? Like it just slams the corn in your face nonstop. And I mean, corn is what, that's where it all started for the whiskey bourbon.
I'll add that I pick up
for the real whiskey in the world.
Yeah, not that fucking Irish, fucking Canadian and Scotch shit. I mean, I love Scotch too, but anyway. Steven, what were you saying?
I pick up quite a bit of peanut too, with repeat tastings in the mouth. When I take my first drink, I don't really get it so much. But then if I've recently had a drink and go back for another, I pick up a lot more peanut that second time. Otherwise, like you said, a lot of corn right in the face, a lot of corn on the nose. I honestly have a hard time picking up anything besides corn and then a little bit of vanilla on the nose, and then a lot of ethanol burn on the nose. But it doesn't translate so much to
it's drink, not a burn.
Yeah.
It's weird. It seems like it kicks you in the face at first when you drink it, and then you swallow it, and you're like, that's it? I mean, this is 100 proof.
Yeah. So a lot of 100 proof, you get some tongue burn, you get some cheek burn, and it in a positive way, right? It tingles your tongue and it stays there and it stays on your cheeks. With this, if you put it in your mouth and you splash it around and you give it that Kentucky chew, it's gonna burn everywhere it touches. And then you swallow it, and there's a little bit of burn as it goes down your throat and into your stomach. But in a flash, it's gone, right? It's just a very simple, fast finish. And I mean, most of the time, that's not considered a good thing, right? You want something that lingers. If it's something really good. But again, this is a $14 bottle. It's not supposed to be competing with any of those whiskeys we mentioned before. It's not even supposed to be competing with Jack Daniels. It is what it is.
Is there many competitors for this? I mean, I know there are other corn whiskeys out there. I can't imagine any of them outsell Mellow Corn.
Not in that price range. Now, some of them do actually I would say that they probably do outsell, but that's because they are looking for a different demographic, if you will. Like Balcones, a Texas distillery, they focus on corn whiskey, and Balcones makes some killer stuff.
I've had some of their stuff before.
Have you?
Don't they make a lot of scotches, or is that TX distillery?
That's TX, and then what's the other one? Garrett
What's
Brothers.
the other?
Garrett Brothers.
Okay, it wasn't that. It was TX. I'm thinking of.
So this is actually probably the closest competitor to Mellow Corn out there, I would guess.
And that's probably a $40 bottle.
It is, yeah, $45-$50.
And it's Balcones True Blue. So what it's called?
Yeah, Balcones True Blue. It's 100 proof. They have another version that's called Baby Blue, which is a lower proof. But that's the reason why I say that this is probably one of the closest competitors as far as corn whiskey goes, because it's the 100 proof.
Are there any other bottled and bond bottom shelf whiskeys?
I don't think so. I can't think of any. Like bottled and bond is normally like, hey, this is guaranteed to be a pretty good pour because it's bottled and bond.
It's about the same price point.
Yeah, but it's not a corn whiskey. That's a bourbon.
Oh, you're just talking about corn whiskeys. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Hey, do you guys want to see the first corn whiskey I personally ever had?
Yeah.
I'll show it to you because I'm talking about like I've got the original bottle that this corn whiskey came from.
Oh, there's no more left?
No, there's still some left.
Oh. Shocking. Oh, is it moonshine?
Yeah, that's some Louisiana moonshine from well, let me put it this way. I used to have 3 jars of it. Now I'm down to 1.5 over the last 26 years. But this is true corn whiskey right here.
Yuck. Is it still drinkable?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I still have a glass every now and then.
Oh, that's good.
Very, very rarely,
That's
clearly.
funny.
Just to take me back to my roots of alcoholism in East Texas.
No, it's great. I know if like we put 2 bottles of this in front of us and the 3 of us are all together drinking,
yeah,
they will not be there by the time we're done drinking.
Oh, no chance. No chance.
Just have a little trivia going.
Yeah, exactly.
We'll get last place. We'll have a great time.
Just beer being poured for us every 10 minutes. Oh, you guys need another pitcher? Yeah, bring on number 10.
We do. People double fisting pitchers.
Next time your wife has a trivia night for the Humane Society, you can blur out where she works, obviously, but let me know and I'll come down.
Okay.
And then we can get last place.
And bring your brother. Bring your brother.
I'll bring him down. He won't help at all. He doesn't know anything, but
that's the point.
Yeah. I guess we're all the weak link when we've had 10 pitchers of beer. Sneak a few flasks in.
No, but I think that's the best way I can discuss Mellow Corn is that it's not going to impress anybody unless they taste it not knowing what it is, and then you tell them what it is and how much it costs. Then you're going to impress them. That's my 2 cents.
Should we give a score for Mellow Corn while it's fresh in our minds?
Sure.
Steven, how about you go first?
Okay.
Let's see if you hate the juice as much as the bottle.
Yeah.
So this is probably one of the hardest ones we've scored so far. It's really tough to give this a score, I think, because I could justify maybe 3 or 4 different scores that vary quite a bit.
Take the $13 to $17 out of your mind.
Yep.
Just based on taste. Remember?
Yep.
Just based on taste.
Just based on taste. I think I'm giving this a 6.4.
Okay.
Which is a little low, but I think that I could easily justify putting it in the like low 7s as well. I wouldn't go higher than that, I don't think, but I think that's a totally fair range. Anywhere from 6.4, which I'll give the official score of 6.4, all the way to maybe like a 7.2 or 3. And I think it just varies based on the company that you've got and sort of maybe the week that you're having or something, because I think I would put this under the category, price aside, I put this in the category of sort of like comfort whiskeys that I think you can always return to. I think would always be reliable, that same flavor, same taste that you're looking for. It's just really solid, and it's a good experience. I would never buy a bottle of this and be disappointed. I'll say that. So yeah, 6.4, and I'm pretty confident with it.
Cool. Ryan?
I enjoyed a lot. Maybe just because December's almost over, the busiest month of the year for me, and I'm down the home stretch, Got some bad news with the Blackhawks today, but whatever. Who lets their best top prospect go play in a junior tournament? But
Chicago Blackhawks do.
Yeah. Dude, I love this whiskey. And I had a score in mind before Steven said it, and I'm priced out, or I'm I guess out of his range a little bit. I'm gonna go 7.5.
Jesus.
I like it a lot. It's really good. I like it more than Fighting Cock. I know that's a Heaven Hill, right?
Yeah, Fighting Cock's Heaven Hill too.
And I think I gave that like a 7.1 or 2 or something.
Yeah.
This is good. It's smooth. It's vanilla-y, corny. Maybe I just have a good bottle because I don't really get that like ethanol burn too much, like Steven said at the end.
I don't get it on the palate, just to be clear. I get it just
on the
nose.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, maybe I get that a little bit too, but it's sweet. It's good. I was gonna go 7.4, and then Steven's like, 7.2, 7.3, and I had 7.4 in my mind pretty much the whole time since we started.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, I'm gonna do mid sevens, just kind of as a fuck you to Steven, because
this keeps the theme of you liking the sweeter or like more. Yeah, I know you used the term decadent whiskeys before.
Yeah. It is very. That's a good word for it. Decadent. It really is. My first experience with it, pop my cherry. Very good. It's very good. I mean, maybe 7.5 is too high. Maybe like the next time I have it, when I'm by myself depressed, I won't like it as much, but I'm having a good time tonight. I'm having fun. December's almost over. It's sweet.
Okay. Well, so here's the weird thing. Like, so I'm not going to disagree with either of your scores. I'm only going to go with a 5.7, right? Like, so like, I love Mellow Corn, but I'm also trying to keep our rating system in mind. And like a Jim Beam White Label is the 5.0.
This is way better.
Oh, it's way better. It is way better. However, like I'm trying to like have some level of consistency here, right?
Yeah, fuck that.
Like I don't know what I've rated EH.
Well, you said who cares about the point system? Sometimes I'll rate it this way based on feeling this way.
Well, that's fair. That's fair. But like right now I'm thinking to myself, like, would I prefer to have this over EH Taylor small batch? Absolutely not. Well, would I prefer to have this over Maker's Mark 46? No, I wouldn't.
I would.
Oh, and I can actually understand that you would. I can understand that. Would I prefer to have this over Old Elk? No, I'd rather have the Old Elk. Trying to look on like, would I rather have this or Eagle Rare? I'd rather have Eagle Rare. However, so that's the reason I give it a 5.7, right? Because I'd rather have those other things than this. However, this will always have a soft spot in my heart. This will always be available at my house 100% of the time. If I finish this bottle tonight, first of all, tomorrow's going to be rough. Second of all, I will also go buy a new bottle of this tomorrow. I always have this at my house, and it will always be the case. So I give it a 5.7, but I can't speak more highly about a 5.7 than this buddy right here.
And then if you flip your score, it's a 7.5.
Then it's a 7.5.
Yeah, I feel like I get where you're coming from, Dan. I did take that into account though, and I honestly give this. I think it's worth like 1.5 more points than like a Jim Beam White Label.
Jim Beam White,
just because like a lot of these whiskeys that I would consider a 5.0. I consider this like much more interesting of a whiskey than that.
Mm-hmm.
So because of that, that's almost a full solid point on its own. And then I liked it a little bit more. So I think that like when you talk about a Maker's Mark 46, I think, a lot of people, it'll just come down to what they find more interesting, because there's a ton of whiskeys out there, a ton of bourbons. Honestly, there's most of the bourbons we've had, I would usually prefer their flavor profiles to this. But I just think that this is just more interesting and it stands out more than 15 of the ones I'd have in the same, like $30 to $40 price range of bourbons. This for 13, which again, I didn't take into account with the score, but still is a damn good value and it's much more interesting. So
yeah. No, like my favorite thing, like, I don't know if I've mentioned this before or not, but like, I mean, I think the listeners know that of the three of us, I'm the more experienced. Like I'm more of an alcoholic than these other two, if you will. I've had a lot more bourbon. Well, Ryan, you're working hard at playing catch up. That's for sure. I just have 12 years. I just have 12 years head start on you. That's the only thing. I will say that like as far as like the show goes, one of my favorite things is introducing you two to stuff you haven't drank before and that you would have never tried. It's super unlikely that you guys would have ever grabbed a bottle of this off that bottom shelf and said, fuck it, let me give it a go for $13.
No chance.
I absolutely love the fact that because of this show, you two tried this. And if none of our listeners ever grab a bottle of it, that's fine, because you two grabbed a bottle of it. And Steven, you rated it a 6.5, 6.4.
6.4.
And Ryan, you rated it a 7.5. A $13 bottle that you two never would have ever tried. And I just absolutely love that. That makes me feel super good. Really good.
I feel like there's a theme with me too with Heaven Hill whiskeys right now too.
Dude, Heaven Hill.
And I don't sell it, and it's not like I'm like talking it up for some reason that benefits me.
Yeah.
They just make good whiskey, and I think that's across the board. Like whiskey's competitive, but it's not like Miller Lite, Coors Light, Bud Light competitive. Where like we have friends who work for a certain beer company, who if he has a Facebook picture of him drinking a competitor's beer, he's fired immediately. You don't really see that in the whiskey crowd. There's all this kind of, there's no harbored resentment between the brands. They all respect each other.
It's the opposite. It's the absolute opposite within whiskey and bourbon. Look, folks, listeners, if you get a chance, spend the $13 on a bottle of Mellow Corn. You are not going to regret it. $13, $17. It's going to be the best $13, $17 bottle of whiskey you're probably ever going to find. Just do it. Just do it. You're going to enjoy it. You're not going to impress a single motherfucker, but you're going to enjoy every glass.
You'll impress me. You'll impress me. You'll impress me.
But trust me, break it out at a party. Pour some for your folks, like whoever's hanging out with you, and they'll be like, holy shit. Then you'll impress them by how good it is and how cheap it is. Heaven Hill, goddamn. Heaven Hill, just keep knocking it out of the park. You guys, I love y'all, son of a bitches.
Another brother showing